For this week's channeled message, the Mother of Creation is with us once again. And this time she is answering a question which many of you have asked, which is, what the heck is 3i Atlas? So she goes into it here. And yes, actually, 3i Atlas is conscious. So very, very interesting message. I'm super excited to share it with you guys. So welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad you are here. Thank you so much for sharing these messages together with me. I'm really grateful. And to those of you who are new, welcome to my channel. My name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel, and I channel usually from the angelic realm. And lately, I've been connecting with a new energy to me, new to me, but familiar to all of us on a deep level, which is the Mother of Creation. And it's not the Earth. It's not Earth energy. This is the energy of Divine Feminine. This is the energy of Divine Feminine that is part of all of us, which created that energy within our universe. So I go into the way my connection works when I'm connected with the angels or with her. I go into a deep meditative state or trance, and from that trance state, I connect. When I connect with the angels, I raise my consciousness up as high as I could go, and then I go a little higher, and I connect at that level, the angelic realm. Messages and information and healing flow through, and I share that here with you guys on YouTube. Mother of Creation comes through just a little differently. She comes in through the back of my heart chakra and kind of comes out this way. Either way, you guys are getting some awesome frequencies in these messages. So when you listen to the message, I suggest don't worry about necessarily hanging on to each word. Just let the energy flow through you, because the frequencies are awesome. Speaking of frequencies, this weekend is Peace Bathing, which is my monthly healing program with the angels. So don't forget, if you are a member of my Peace Bathing program, that we are on this Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. So you should have the link in your inbox. And if you would like to join us, it's not too late. You can go to my website, which is anntucker.com, and sign up. It is a monthly program we do once a month with the angels, helping us to keep pace with the energies of this shift in consciousness. So it's a beautiful healing session with the angels. So I would love for you to come if you'd like to be there. All right, so if you are ready, I'm going to go ahead and share the original channeling from yesterday, and then I'm going to go into, afterwards, we'll break it down, and I will tell you just generally what it's about. She is talking about the consciousness of 3i Atlas and letting us know exactly why it's here right now and what it's bringing for us. All right, you guys, enjoy the message. Take a deep breath, and here we begin with the original channeling. Blessings, divine beings. I am with you once again. I have come to continue on our path to knowing each other. I wish to bring to your attention the changing ways you are experiencing your own light in the now time that is existence. You're entering a new time frame within which the starlight, which you are made of, begins to expand from within your own hearts. The lifetime, as you've known it, begins separating from how it has been, and the performance of your life begins to feel like something unknown, as if a new beginning has begun, but you're the last to know about it, as if your heartstrings are pulled in a new direction, in many directions at once, but you can't define them or understand them. It's a confusing time period, a period of letting go, and a period within which what is not yet resolved cannot be understood. And you are within the grasp of this, within the very opening of the doorway, the passageway to what is the void. The void is the space within which all creation happens. It is where newness is found, where the things that have not yet evolved come from. And within this space, undoings can happen. The unfolding of what was readies yourselves for the voyage into the unknown. And from within this space, new things can emerge that are not trapped by convention or old thinking. It is truly the space of new beginnings, new beginnings cannot start from within the old. They need the clarity of space. They need the emptiness of the void to become themselves, to rise up from infinite potential, which is what my energy entails. I wish to bring to your attention now what you've resolved upon in the skies above. Yes, 3i Atlas. This is of interest to you now, and you are wondering what it brings. What is the import? Why is it here? What is it made of? And I would share with you now the changes that it brings are substantial, for it drives forward into the consciousness of the human that there is a presence beyond this one, that the all that is exists beyond the realm of your own knowing. It is within a register of its own creation. It is a deity of sorts, you might call it, an angry triumph of rock and soil and gas and substance, and it makes itself known to yourselves. It is not harboring life. It is not harboring someone within it who comes to share their knowledge. It is, however, a significant event, and it draws you closer to your own self-knowing. It brings aboard itself a magnetism that draws you closer to it in your attention, in your way of knowing yourselves. It is a significant impact that it is having on the awareness of the human. It has been as a consciousness in dialogue with Earth. It has within itself its own way of beingness, not human, and no resident population exists within it. It is not carrying additional life other than itself, but it would share with you now the ideas of a new entrant, of a new way of becoming. There is an intrusion, an intrusionary force that will interrupt what has become from within you, what has already arrived, and what has already been made. There are truths coming to the forefront about your reality, which are difficult to deny and difficult to face. And these must be experienced by yourselves. Intrusions in the same way that 3i Atlas is intruding upon your solar system. It comes to take notice of your voyage. It comes to bear witness to the turmoil of the earth herself. It comes to bypass, to make no intrusion that leaves a mark in its path, but to make its own happenstance ready and visible to you, to cause within the earth herself an awareness that she is not alone by herself, to create a ripple through the cosmos of travelers passing by that carry messages from the far beyond nature of reality itself, that there may be understandings that have been missed. There may be methods and ways of being that have not yet been considered. It is breaking apart old paradigms simply by its presence. Before you now lays a choice point, a place within which you may cast your hopes and your futures. It is a place wherein you will be readying yourselves for the letting go of things. And this is coming shortly. And you will find yourselves invited to participate in a new economy, in a new way of expressing yourself through the toil of your labors, through the experiencing of your own self within the context of a life as you've been leading it. Yes, changes are afoot, and there are many. And within this context, you may be harboring a desire to keep things as they are, to stay within the realm of what is known. But 3i Atlas introduces something, the possibility of new existence, a new way of being, a conceptualization of yourselves as something other than what you've understood before. It brings this to the earth herself and to yourselves. There are many ways of existing that you have not yet considered. And the old way has within it limitations that may not be suitable to the expansion of your consciousness. Thus, the letting go opens before you a brand new vista. That which is foreshadowed here as we are speaking, that which I'm alluding to, is the breaking apart of certain structures within your societies. The letting go of, yes, leaders in politics, monetary systems. There are many subsystems within each of these that may ripple from the force of what is breaking. And these ripples may then impact your own world. Be aware as these breaks are coming, as you are fathoming what may change and what is changing, that you are entering into this choice point, into the momentary rift within your own lives, where you are choosing, should you let go, should you hang on, should you accept this new bystander who seems to be appearing as something outside of the norm. 3i Atlas represents to the human that there are many ways of being outside of this one. There are intrusions that will set in presence, ripples of concentrated energy that move about this plane of existence and cause before you opportunities to come forth if you are ready to see them, if you have the presence of mind to set down what was and be receptive to new beginnings. This is the invitation that is before you. This is the welcome mat which 3i Atlas brings, a concentration of energy that cascades toward yourselves, presenting another way of life, a new consciousness not yet considered, a new beginning. Allow this rippling effect to take place. Fear not what changes in your world. Fear not what is coming or what may break. Allow yourselves the trust and faith in your own hearts, in your own way forward. Trust and have faith that your own mentality, the space within your heart that is accepting, these are what is in dialogue with creation. These are what is choosing. Have faith in yourselves and know the richness of your inner dialogue will portray itself into your future and create for you a welcome change into a new state of consciousness. Thank you. So yeah, super interesting, particularly with all the conversations about 3i Atlas, right? There's so many people speculating about what it might be and that it's not behaving like a normal comet and what is this thing? And there's so much conversation about it. And I think that is part of its role for us, right? Part of its job that it is introducing, there's a lot of things about it that seem to be very untypical for comets. And a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, comets like this, it's not possible, it shouldn't exist. You know, that the chance that it would go by the planets in this way is like an incredibly small percentage. There's a lot of things about it that are causing people to puzzle and to wonder. And I think that is the point of the consciousness of this, I guess let's call it a comet, right? That is that the consciousness of it. And I love how she calls it an angry triumph. That it's an angry triumph, because it makes me think about like the idea, so after I channeled this message, because I hadn't really thought that much, honestly, about Three-Eye Atlas. So after that, I went and I Googled, like, what makes a comet, and I Googled, like, what is, like, more about, like, what is Three-Eye Atlas. And apparently what I learned is that comets are formed like sort of on the outer edges of our solar system by kind of what is left over. Like they kind of form themselves out of the leftover like ice and debris and materials that are there, rock and whatever kind of minerals and junk that's there. They kind of glue themselves together. So I love this idea of this consciousness, because she says in here, she says that it made itself. It is within a register of its own creation. This consciousness made itself a body, basically, out of the leftover bits. So it is an angry triumph of, like you said, I couldn't exist. Bah, here I am. I am a comet. Right? It's just like, I'm going to stitch myself together out of all this leftover junk, and here I am. I exist. Right? An angry triumph. And then I also read that a lot of stuff that comes from that area, like the outer area of the solar system, is red, which is like angry, like the anger, like we think of Mars, like the planet of like like Mars as a astrological sign is like angry and war and stuff. So it's like an angry triumph, a red comet that is a triumph because it shouldn't exist, right? How cool is that? So I just thought that was a very cool description of it, but an angry triumph that and it created itself. So that is, and if you think about that as a person, like a consciousness, we are all consciousnesses. We have personalities, like every consciousness does. So this comet, Three-Eye Atlas, has a personality, and its personality is one of a person who literally said, "Yeah, I'm gonna make myself. I want to have this life. I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna make myself." And it's not quite a planet, right? It's not really a planet. It's kind of just going completely. If think about if it tried to make itself as a planet, how it would be harnessed within the field of gravity, and it would be on an elliptical, and it would be behaving according to what we predict, and it would be very predictable. It's not. It's literally going right through the middle, right? Right through the center of everything. So to me, this is really like shaking things up, right? It's saying like, yeah, I'm not going to behave like everything. So, and I will tell you what this reminds me of is that when I was in high school, or no, I was like little, I had older step siblings who were like 10 years older than me, and they graduated from high school when I was just a little tiny person. And I remember going, and it might have been my brother or my sister, I'm not sure which one who was graduating, but I remember going to their graduation ceremony. And I was very, very young and very impressionable. And it was in the 70s. And in the middle of the ceremony, there was a streaker who ran across and everybody's like, oh, the whole audience like, streaker, and you see this naked guy jump over the fence, and then he's running through the whole thing, like shaking his goods and having a great time, and he's streaking through the graduation ceremony. Who knows who this guy was, and everybody's murmur, and here I am as a little kid, my eyes are this big, because it broke paradigms for me. It was, and think about how disruptive, like here we are, they're having their very predictable ceremony and pomp and circumstance and all this kind of stuff. And then in comes the human version of Three-Eye Atlas running through the graduation ceremony. And as a little kid, what it did for me is this little, my wheels are turning like, oh my gosh, you mean adults misbehave? No one told me that adults can misbehave. Here is an adult doing something crazy. And that's the first piece, right? Going against convention, breaking up the formality of all this and doing something totally crazy. And then it was funny, And so these were two things that were kind of like paradigm shattering for me as a little child, that there could be such a thing, that an adult of all things would, and then for him to go naked, which is a little kid, is like, oh, like naked, and then the second piece of it is that it was really funny. So that it was lighthearted, and that it was not, it wasn't like he's going to go to jail, which maybe he did, but it was this thing, this idea that you can step outside of the bounds, right? That you can create your own path. It was this kind of paradigm shifting moment for me. And so to me, it really, when I thought about Three-Eye Atlas, it was the first thing that came to mind was the streaker, that it is doing this for humanity, that humanity is looking out into the cosmos and saying, what is this thing? All of the conversation all over YouTube. Yeah, it's part of it, right? It's part of it. And I think importantly, they say in here, or she says in here, that he's in conversation with the earth. So we know from past messages that the earth is right now dealing with her wounds of feeling isolated and feeling alone, that she has been under the impression that she's by herself. But here comes something that is different. So imagine if her perspective of the universe, if she can't see things because they're in predictable patterns, right? That she can't see the energy of Mars or the energy of Saturn or these other planets that are around her because they have blended in to be like the features of the living room, right? That they're just like, that's a lamp and that's a sofa. She doesn't necessarily see, feel, or experience them at this point. She's been isolated, right? And so what if all of a sudden a streaker comes to the living room where she's going to see that, right? She's going to see that. And that may wake her up to seeing the other things that she hasn't seen. So they're saying, yeah, she's that this may be, and we know she's right in this conversation right now with, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not alone. So super, super cool idea about what 3i Atlas is. So, okay, so if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and break it down paragraph by paragraph, because we can always get a little bit deeper understanding of things when we do that. So first paragraph, she says, blessings, divine beings, I am with you once again. I have come to continue our path to knowing each other. I wish to bring to your attention the changing ways you are experiencing your own light in the now time that is existence. You are entering a new time frame within which the starlight which you are made of begins to expand from within your own hearts. So this is very consistent with what we've always been hearing from the angels about the shift in consciousness, that it comes from within us. And the more that I understand the mother of creation, the more I understand that what's rising is the divine feminine energy, that is her energy, that is part of all of us, that is helping us to move into these higher frequencies, because we're moving into a balanced state of consciousness, away from imbalance towards balance. So, but it is our starlight, right? We are created from starlight through the mother of creation, from God through the mother of creation. We are created as starlight, and then we become us over time. And that begins, and so this consciousness begins to expand from within our own hearts. Next paragraph, this lifetime that you're in right now, the lifetime as you've known it, begins separating from how it's been. And the performance of your life begins to feel like something unknown, as if a new beginning has begun, but you are the last to know about it. So I wonder if any of you have been feeling this, that she says that as if your heartstrings are pulled in a new direction, in many directions at once, but you can't define them or understand them. It's a confusing time period. So is anyone feeling that way, that you feel like maybe whether you're feeling full of good energy, feeling pulled upward, or if you're feeling like you're dealing more with the letting go piece of things, whichever way it's striking you right now, especially with the eclipse season. But there may be the sense of, I want to move forward, but I'm not sure how, right? That I'm looking for a change in my life, but I don't know how to find it or what it should be, or like it's hard to get your arms around it, almost like it's holding something wet and slippery, that it slips out of your get. Yes, 100% feeling it. Yes. Yeah, exactly. I feel all of the above regarding heartstrings, says Andrea. Lots of letting go from right now, and it's very much a need to move forward, but not sure how. Yes, feeling like I'm all over the place. Sometimes Connie says, feel like I can hear something and it just makes me cry hard. I don't understand that. Yeah, it's very confusing time. Pulling upward, interesting. I want to move forward, but being held back and wait in a waiting period, interesting. Praying for divine guidance and clarity, says Corrine. Yeah. Very, very, yeah. So I think this is the thing that we are, and that's part of, we are beginning to separate from how things have been. And so everything is energy. So we always look for it in the tangible reflections of our world, but there are things in our world that are slowly pulling apart, and it's becoming more and more apparent that there's increasing the polarity, as we talk about the poly crisis, the frog in the boiling pot, that we've got increasing change. It feels like all of our systems are so stretched to the breaking point. And this is part of it, the beginning of the separating from what was, but how we are feeling it personally is maybe this way, which is this feeling like something's changing, right? As if new beginnings are begun, but you're the last to know. That it's like, which way am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do next? And not being able to really answer that question yet. And she says, a period of letting go, a period within which what is not yet resolved cannot be understood. And you are within the grasp of this, within the very opening of the doorway, the passageway to what is the void. So she talks to us, the mother of creation talks to us a lot
about the void. And it's a super important concept because it's something that it goes entirely against the way we have thought about how to get things done in our world and how we've understood how to work with our own energy field. So this is part of what she wants to try to share with us to help us understand how to better work with our own energy, particularly super important right now, because we are trying to move away from a karmic existence, which is where we just recreate the same thing over and over and over again, which is what happens when we don't know how to work with the void. We want to move into the space where we are understanding the importance of the void, where we make space for the void, where we work affirmatively with the void. So the void is the space of infinite potential. And this is 100% the mother of creation's energy. This is her way of beingness. And she is part of all of us. We all have this inside of us. So she describes in the next paragraph, she says, the void is the space within which all creation happens. It is where newness is found, where the things that have not yet evolved come from. And within this space, undoings can happen. The unfolding of what was readies yourself for the voyage into the unknown. So the void is where we kind of set everything down that used to be, right, or whatever. And you can have a void about a small thing, right? It doesn't have to be like an all or nothing. Like, it's not like you literally like unplug yourself from your entire life in order to enter the void. It could be like you are in a void about the new saucepan you're going to buy, and you throw away the old saucepan, or you give it away, or you donate it, or whatever. And then you're in a couple days with no saucepan. And then, the new saucepan rises from the void, right? From the infinite potential. You discover the new saucepan. So it doesn't have to be your whole life. It can, and this is true about the earth. Like, if you use the understanding of earth energy to help us understand the energy of the mother of creation, because the earth works with this energy. The earth creates with her energy. So think about how, like, when at the end of the season, your garden dies back and everything disintegrates and goes into the soil, and you are in the void, and it looks like there's nothing going on. But then from that void, from underneath the soil, up burbles next year's growth. So we need to have that winter space, what we think of as winter, the time of letting things rest, because we take things apart, super necessary, because that energy then goes in to create something new with it. And so this is what she's encouraging us to understand. We are so conditioned to think that we cannot leave a job until we have the new job defined already, that we've already gotten the new job. We cannot, leave a relationship until we know where we're going next. And sometimes you have to just jump off the cliff. Sometimes you have to just leave. And I don't mean that literally. I mean that as a representation of the fear we have about leaving something that we feel is important to our safety or to our stability or to our well-being or whatever, that sometimes we have to take that risk, enter into the void. Otherwise, we risk creating from where we're currently standing, which is, guess what we're going to do if we do that? We're going to create from our past. We're going to create from all the things we've known, from all the stories we had, from our 2-year-old self, our 5-year-old self. That's what we're creating with when we create from where we currently are. When we're willing to set it all down and let go, we enter the space of the void where none of that comes with us. All that comes through into the void is our current present now, who we are today, everything we've learned, right? Everything we've adopted. It's who we want to be. So this is a super important idea that is just very foreign to us, because, like, I'll tell you right now, my poor daughter is in the void. She's entering the void, and she is in the process. She took a really, really great job that looked like a phenomenal career for her, but she didn't know they were going to assign her to an office that was really far away from her home. Like it's a horrendous drive, like literally like hours and hours of driving to go there and back every single day. It's just not feasible for her. It's a horrible quality of life from her perspective. So she's leaving. And she has a good severance package, so she'll have time to take where she will be able to find, like, to be able to discover what's next. But she does not have the next thing lined up. And everyone is casting so much shade on her in her current work because they're, oh, you don't have something, you're moving. What are you going to do next? It scares the pants off everyone. It terrifies them that she is leaving a sure thing for an unsure thing. And it's really rattled her because, here's everywhere she turned, everyone's telling her she's crazy to do what she's doing. But she's doing it, and I'm really proud of her. Really, really proud of her. That and I trust, and I will keep you guys posted, but I trust the void will do its work. That she will enter, she will lay it down, she will enter the void, And then we'll see something brand new will come out from her. And she's ready for brand new. Like she's ready. She's realized the limitations of the choices she made before, that maybe she wants something different and bigger and more expansive and more expressive. So yeah, so I'm excited. So I will share with you when this comes to pass for her, when her void gestates and generates something new and hopefully beautiful for her. So, but not easy, right? Definitely, she's flying in the face of convention and dealing with that right now, and it's not easy for her. So send her little love to my girl, little extra love. So, and Jennifer says she's brave, and that's what parents and families are for the safety, That's what we are, the safety net. That's exactly right. You're saying amazing. Yeah, I'm super proud of her. You're right. Kudos to her. Thank you so much. Thanks for the love, you guys. Appreciate that so much. Yeah. So, okay. So the void. So this is the energy of the mother of creation. And from within this new space, the things that are not trapped by convention or old thinking, that's that idea that we're really free to create something brand new. So why is this so important now? We are entering into a shift in consciousness, and we are trying to create a brand new reality that has never existed before. And if we are trying to create that from our current reality, we will just create more of our current reality. We have to learn how to work with the energy of the void so that we can let go of the current reality, step into the void, and create a new, brand new reality from who we are today, from the highest octave that we have achieved. And that's the goal, right? That's why the mother of creation's here right now, is because her energy is coming online, right? This is the energy we need to learn to work with. So, and she says, yeah, they need new beginnings, cannot start from the old. They need the clarity of space. They need the emptiness of the void to become themselves, to rise up from infinite potential, which is what my energy entails. So that's her. She is this idea of infinite potential. And I love this understanding about who she really is, because I think we have been saddled for a long time with this understanding that we get locked into this concept of feminine energy as receiving, which is very disempowering, to be honest. like receiving is like, we try to build it up like receiving is so great, and it is. Receiving is great, but it is also dependent, right? When you receive it, there's something about it that just does not feel great because it's dependent. I thought we were supposed to be autonomous beings. To be a woman, does that mean you have to be really great at receiving and that's it? No, no, it doesn't. It means you have access to infinite potential, and we all do, men as well, because we all have this energy in us. But we are also embodied as one gender or another, or gendered in, or some people choose not to. But we are, if you resonate with the gender of female, or you resonate with the gender of male, that we are embodying more of that energy. And so it's nice as a woman to think about, yes, we receive, but it is about being able to create from the space of the infinite, from access to infinite potential, infinite energy which has been set down. So yeah, it's really an incredible, cool concept. And yes, we all of us have access to it. So, and then Phil says the void has been portrayed in several Soul Convergence episodes. Ying of the old vegetarian and the rising of the new vegetarian. Yes, yeah, and you're right. It does come up a lot in Soul Convergence for sure, because it is a super important concept. And Wendy is saying, save the dates, December 6th and 7th for the Mother of Creation coming out party. Yay, virtual. Yeah, so we are going to do that, you guys. If you would like to know more and to experience healing with the Mother of Creation, we're going to do a coming out party for her, because it does take a long time to actually kind of go through what she wants to share with us to help us understand how to work with this energy. It's more than really can come through in our Friday messages. So we wanted to give her a broader space to share that. So it's coming up. We're going to do it December 6th and 7th. So we'll just say the date for now. We'll get you more information later on. But I'm really, totally looking forward to it. And yes, it will be recorded as well. So, okay. So then she says, I wish to bring to your attention now what you've resolved upon in the skies above. Yes, 3i Atlas. This is of interest to you now, and you are wondering what it brings. What is the import? Why is it here? What is it made of? And I would share with you now the changes that it brings are substantial, for it drives forward into the consciousness of the human that there is a presence beyond this one, that all that is exists beyond the realm of your own knowing. So this is that idea that we are being faced with the unexpected, right? That all that is exists beyond the realm of our own knowing, that there's stuff we don't know about, that we can't conceive of, that the idea that the void is all about letting something emerge that we've never seen before. That's the concept of the void. And so here we are seeing Three Eye Atlas, which all of the people who know, all the scientists, and say, yeah, this is really unusual. This is really different. This is something we haven't seen before, right? It is bringing forward this energy, this idea of the unknown. It's stretching, helping us to set down old paradigms, old limiting belief systems, ideas that we say that we have to live inside of this box. And then saying, well, what if there is no box? What if we're boxless and that anything is possible? Wouldn't that be a cool idea? That there doesn't have to be one way for a comet to show up. Here it is. Here's a new concept, brand new idea for this whatever this is, which is Three Eye Atlas, this consciousness that's coming towards us. I'm calling it a comet. But yeah, very cool, right? So then she says, it is within a register of its own creation. So a register is like a range of like a musical instrument. Like, what is the register of this instrument, or what is the register? Like, are you an alto or a soprano? I don't know if that's exactly what a register is, but it's that idea that it's like that. I think it's like that. So, but I know it is for instruments, musical instruments. They'll be tuned within a specific register. So I think of that as like alto and soprano and stuff like that. But it is within a register of its own creation. So basically it's a consciousness. Three Eye Atlas is a consciousness that created its own embodiment, that created this sort of comet to decide to exist, so that it could have a body to exist in, right? To experience a physical world. And so, which is a really, really interesting idea to begin with, right? So in that sense, they say it is a deity of sorts, you might call it, because it created itself. Right? We are also deities because we create. So she's saying it is a deity of sorts, you may call it, because of this reason. Not because it's like God or anything like that, because it's a creator. It created its own self. An angry triumph of rock and soil and gas and substance. So then we went into that a little bit about angry. I think of like, a rebel. It's defiant. It's like, yeah, you said I couldn't exist. Here I am. Right? That's the idea. And also, apparently, a lot of comments are red. I think it probably has some red in there. So, and it makes itself known to yourselves. It is not harboring life. It is not harboring someone within it who comes to share their knowledge. So I think she's telling us that because I know a lot of people are really hopeful for that moment when that happens. And so I think she wants to let us down easy, that it's maybe not just yet. The angels have said that contact point would come after we achieved world peace. That was, and how do we achieve world peace? She says that, or the angels told us that it would be that when we develop our telepathy, when we go through the shift in consciousness, we become telepathic, and then at that point, peace on earth becomes easy. So, which is crazy. Like, it couldn't happen unless we changed, right? And then she says, it is, however, a significant event, and it draws you closer to your own self-knowing. The next paragraph, she says, it brings aboard itself a magnetism that draws you closer to it in your attention, in your way of knowing yourselves. It is a significant impact that it is having on the awareness of the human. It has been, as a consciousness, in dialogue with Earth. So very interesting, right? So this consciousness is currently in a conversation with the Earth herself, helping her to move through her own wounding, which has been the feeling of being abandoned. So very, very cool that this is supporting the energy of this, or the consciousness is supporting the Earth. And also, right, it's having an impact on our own awareness. Next paragraph, it has within itself its own way of beingness, not human, and no resident population exists within it. I think she's saying that again just to make sure we got it. It is not carrying additional life other than itself, but it would share with you now the ideas of a new entrant, of a new way of becoming. So that is that concept of it, right? That it's bringing, that there is there are things that are possible that are outside of our realm of expectation. And she goes on to say, there is an intrusionary force that will interrupt what has become from within you. So what has already arrived and what has already been made. So here we are, fully baked. We have our concept of reality, and then boom, intrusion, like a streaker running through our graduation ceremony, right? Not what we expected. And that's the idea. She goes on to say, there are truths coming to the forefront about your reality, which are difficult to deny and difficult to face. So this is so important. Think about that if we have truths coming to the surface that are difficult to face, what do? And I can relate to this because there were times in my life when I had really, really difficult truths to face, particularly like in the ending of my first marriage. There were some really hard truths I had to face, and I didn't want to face them. And so you know what I did is that for a long time, I shut down my third eye and I lived in la la land and pretended it didn't exist. And that happened for a long time until finally the rug was pulled out from underneath me and I had to wake up. And that was a gift, such a gift, right? Such a gift, but hard, very hard at the time. And so it's very, very possible for us when we have truths that we have to face, that we don't want to face, we are extremely capable of being in denial, right? We have, who, anybody here else here has that, like as a strategy of coping? Like, has that been your strategy, denial? Because yes, absolutely, that was my strategy. Was, oh no, I can just keep on la 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 and everything's great. Yeah, not good, not good. But that is a thing. And so here we are at this intrusion, right, that has already arrived, and it is helping us to break apart that desire to hide from difficult truths. And we're going to need it because there's going to be some stuff we would rather not face. So there are truths coming to the forefront about your reality, which are difficult to deny and difficult to face. And this has already been happening. There's been some really terrible stuff coming forward about things going on in our world. And there may be other things coming forward that are hard for us to handle. Maybe they have an impact on our daily lives in some way that we would really would rather not be true. So, and she goes on to say, and these must be experienced by yourselves, intrusions, in the same way that 3i Atlas is intruding upon your solar system. So, next paragraph, she says, it comes to take notice of your voyage. It comes to bear witness to the turmoil of the earth herself. It comes to bypass, right? So, to make no intrusion that leaves a mark in its path. So, in other words, there won't be any, it won't crash into anything, which is good to know. But it's coming to see, to be part of our shift in consciousness, right? To take notice of what we are doing, to bear witness to the earth, right? So in that bearing witness, so important, because what what she's basically saying there is that is healing. That one of the ways we heal is to bring our things to the surface and to be witnessed. So this comet is 3i Atlas is helping the earth by bearing witness to her wounds. To make no intrusion that leaves a mark in its path, but to make its own happenstance ready and visible to you. Happenstance is like coincidence, like, hey, look at this, surprise, I'm here, to make it ready and visible to us. So to cause, next paragraph, to cause within the earth herself an awareness that she is not alone by herself, right? So here's the healing. To create a ripple through the cosmos of travelers passing by that carry messages from the far beyond nature of reality itself. So it's really the idea that there are things beyond what we know that will expand our thoughts of reality. And guess what? I'm willing to bet you that on the heels of this traveler, there will be other types of travelers, the ones that we are all excited to meet someday here on Earth, right? That are coming from far beyond the nature of our reality, that will expand our consciousness even further. That there may be understandings that have been missed. There may be methods and ways of being that have not been considered. It is breaking apart old paradigms simply by its presence. In the same way that it did for me, right, with the streaker, where here I was, a little kid, thinking that I had the idea that adults were always well behaved, because I pretty much saw my parents and my teachers, and and everybody, adults were like, oh, they deserved your respect, and they were always so well behaved. And then here comes the streaker, right? All of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, yeah, rules can be broken. So okay. Next comes, before you now lays a choice point, a place within which you may cast your hopes and your futures. It is a place wherein you will be readying yourselves for the letting go of things. So we've got some endings on the docket, is what she's telling us, that we are right now coming up to a choice point, and that choice point is going to be like, do we flow with the change or do we resist the change? That's always the choice point. And I know here, all of us, we are going to lean into the change, right? We're going to let it down. We're going to do our best to try to be in flow and recognize when we're in fear, confront our fear, and try to get back into flow. And she says, and this is coming shortly, and you will find yourselves invited to participate in a new economy, in a new way of expressing yourself through the toil of your labors, through the experiencing of your own self within the context of a life as you've been leading it. So a new economy. So we have been anticipating that there may be some changes to like the idea of a digital currency is a real possibility here. And I think that is what she's referring to. In a new economy, it could even mean, already we're dealing with massive change in the economy with the trade stuff and everything else. So, but I think even more so, I think this is really the opening of a larger shift in the economy. So she says, yes, changes are afoot and there are many. And within this context, you may be harboring a desire to keep things as they are, to stay within the realm of what is known. But 3i Atlas introduces something, the possibility of new existence, a new way of being, a conceptualization of yourselves as something other than what you've understood before. It brings this to the earth herself and to yourselves. So I will share with you guys something that was interesting that I had to get over was in bringing forward the mother of creation. I had some misgivings. I had some worry about it. And it was a huge, long process for me. It took me like a year to kind of get over myself because I was in the beginning, her energy was just so darn big that I had a lot of fear about channeling her. And then once I did channel her, and the stuff that she's saying really flies in the face of what is in a lot of our, like, what would be considered sacred religious texts. And I didn't have a great feeling about that. I worried about it. I worried about bringing forward information that was threatening to the establishment. And it just was part of me. I think it's that little girl before the streaker ran through that was like, okay, I don't want to take something that is really cherished to a group of people and step on it. And I had a dream about it. In the dream, I see an old queen, and she's kind of moldy. She's kind of a moldy old queen, but she's still full of herself. She's still full of self-importance, and she's still walking like she's very regal, but she's clearly past her prime. And I see her as like, like her clothes and everything. She's been like, she's got all the jewels and the dripping and stuff like that, but she's just not for the current moment is what it is. Nothing wrong with her. She's just from a previous time period. And in the dream, I'm kind of giving her a wide, respectful berth and walking around her and being deferential towards her as I'm going on my journey. And the message was very clear, loud and clear. It was like, stop doing that. That was the message. Stop doing that. That it was really just me in my own head. And they're saying like, no, embrace change. Don't fear. So that was my fear, right? That's where so this message is for me too, right? That's where I was having hesitation about letting go or setting down traditions and worrying about hurting people's feelings or offending people. Instead of saying, okay, just set it down. Don't worry about that. And trust that if people don't want to hear this, they won't hear it. And they will have their cherished traditions. I'm not taking it away from them. I'm just saying something different. I am emerging from the void with a new concept. And so to allow myself that space to do that without feeling like I need to defer to something that's so really, really unrelated to me, right? So anyway, so I'm taking this in as well, right? And so then she goes on to say, I don't even know where I was, you guys. Here it is. Okay, there are many ways of existing that you have not yet considered, and the old way has within it limitations that may not be suitable to the expansion of your consciousness. How fitting, based on what I just mentioned, right? That the old way does not really allow for the shift in consciousness, right? Thus, the letting go opens before you a brand new vista. And why is that? Why is it that a lot of our traditional religious concepts may not serve us as we're trying to expand our consciousness? And like it's kind of that idea of it belonged. It has been a very cherished and useful tool for many people, a very cherished and useful way of being for many people, and it brought them closer to spirit, which is great in many ways. But in this new reality, we have to learn to work with energy in a brand new way. And this is moving more towards the integration of the divine feminine, which has not been incorporated into most of the religious traditions. As a matter of fact, she was written out, right? She was literally written out of those traditions. She doesn't exist in those traditions. So in order to embrace her energy, we got to write her back in. So that's the idea, right? Okay, next paragraph. That which is foreshadowed here as we are speaking, that which I'm alluding to, is the breaking apart of certain structures within your societies, the letting go of, yes, leaders in politics, monetary systems. There are many subsystems within each of these that may ripple from the force of what is breaking, and these ripples may then impact your own worlds. So just think about that, the leaders in politics, how literally just recently we had the Japanese prime minister step down, the Canadian prime minister step down, we had the recent assassination, and I think there may be more. There may be more significant changes in leadership in the very near future. So in monetary systems, so they've been talking about this digital currency, right? And even now, the monetary systems have been shifting already really dramatically, where we're slowly leaning away from the dollar, right? And there's so many central banks right now are buying gold, like by the ton, like gazillion amounts of gold. All the central banks, like they have been gradually trying to get away from treasuries and away from the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency, and trying to buy more and more and more and more gold. It's shocking the amount that's what this has been happening. And then we also know that we now have the BRICS countries, which are trying to move away and just kind of create their own network amongst themselves, separate from the petrodollar. So this is, the monetary systems are changing. They have been changing. The angels have been telling us about this since 2020. They were really, really clear in 2020 that this stuff was coming. And they talked about payment processing, and they talked about monetary systems. So here we are. It's happening, but apparently it's happening more. So there are many subsystems, she says, where it may ripple down into our own world, into our own lives. So opportunity, right? Opportunity for us to embrace the new. Then she goes on to say, be aware as these breaks are coming, and as you are fathoming what may change and what is changing, that you are entering into this choice point, into the momentary rift within your own lives where you are choosing. Should you let go? Should you hang on? Should you accept this new bystander who seems to be appearing as something outside the norm, right? Again, referring to Three-Eye Atlas. So, and then she says, Three-Eye Atlas represents to the human that there are many ways of being outside of this one. There are intrusions that will enforce, in presence, ripples of concentrated energy that move about this plane of existence and cause before you opportunities to come forth. So this is the good news, right? That the more we set down, the more we open up, that these changes are like dropping pebbles in water. They create ripples, and those ripples distort the surface and create new perspectives, new ways of seeing things, right? In the reflection is not one solid thing anymore. It becomes many different reflections because the ripple moves through, and you can ride that ripple, right, into a new way of being. So do you want to just wait for it to go away and try to keep things the same, or do you want to ride the ripple? So, and if so, then if you ride it, opportunities can come forth because of change. I love the idea that sometimes having a chink in the fence, that's your opportunity to move forward, right? That when you have change, it breaks apart old systems, and that creates new avenues for flow, new ways for you to move forward that didn't exist before. So then she says, if you are ready to see them, if you have the presence of mind to set down what was and to be receptive to new beginnings. Next paragraph. This is the invitation that is before you. This is the welcome mat which Three-Eye Atlas brings, a concentration of energy that cascades towards yourselves, presenting another way of life, a new consciousness not yet considered, a new beginning. Allow this rippling effect to take place. Fear not what changes in your world. Fear not what is coming or what may break. Allow yourselves the trust and faith in your own hearts, in your own way forward. Trust and have faith that your own mentality, the space within your heart that is accepting, these are what is in dialogue with creation. These are what is choosing. So in other words, it is, yes, our mentality, right? Our perspective, our willingness, our openness, and the openness in our hearts. So, and she mentions the mentality because so much of it is our conscious expectation about what we expect to see, right? That we see what we expect to see. And this is a true fact about how consciousness works, is that we sometimes we go through life without ever actually looking. Like, have you ever come home with a brand new haircut to your family or to your friends, and you may have had a dramatic haircut and they don't even notice, right? And you're like, I just chopped off 4 inches, or I went from here to here, and they don't even see it. Like, you just walk in and they're talking to you, and they literally are not even looking at you because they are in the mentality of they are not using their eyes, right? They're kind of going through the motions. They're living their life. And so finally you have to say, like, hello, my haircut, and but that's how we are in life, is that we move through life often without really looking. And so the mentality piece of it is important. It's that idea of entering into the life with a little bit more of the state of awe, like that new beginning, like that childhood awe of wonder, where you have to see more because you are expecting things to be outside the norm. That if we go through life expecting things to always be the same, the reason why people don't see your haircut often is because you're home and they can literally walk around that place with their blindfold on and turn on all the light switch and miss all the obstacles because they know it so well that their awareness is turned down, right? So they're not looking. But when you're in a brand new place, if you're in a place you've never been and you're trying to navigate and you're looking for everything, you become hyper aware. Where we want to find up somewhere in between those two, right? We want to get to a place where we are more tuned into change, where we're looking for what's new, because that will help us to see new opportunities that we didn't see before, as well as new haircuts. So yeah, so they say it is your mentality. So is the willingness to be open, the idea of being expecting something new, as well as the space in your heart that is accepting of it, right? So see it and accept it. This is what is choosing. And then she says, have faith in yourselves and know the richness of your inner dialogue will portray itself into your future and create for you a welcome change into a new state of consciousness. So this is that idea that feel into your own heart and find the love that's there. Like find the beauty of you and trust that is what you're going to be creating with, the best of you, the highest resonance of you, the best frequency that you can muster. That is what's going to, imagine if your reality is created from that. And how many things in this world that we live in right now that are not at that frequency that you would rather not have to deal with? Well, trust yourself. Trust that you are good. Trust that you're full of goodness, and that goodness can create a phenomenal life experience for you. So yeah, very, very, very cool message. What a fun conversation, you guys. I just loved it. Wow, wow, wow. And so inspiring and cool. You know, this idea, like I'm definitely going to be looking to see if we can see 3i Atlas as he's cruising by and just try to be as open as possible. The idea like, okay, what new changes? What's breaking free? What are we setting down? And how can we be more open, more receptive, more allowing for the good things that are coming for us? Because they are good things, because they're coming from inside of us, right? And we are good. So we're going to create a beautiful new reality together, you guys. So, so awesome to be on this journey with you all. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you who are part of our Soul Society, don't forget to come next to our clearing, to our weekly clearing we do, which is phenomenal. It's like going through a car wash, clearing away whatever energies that you may have picked up at Costco. We want to clear them out and get you well scrubbed and ready for a beautiful week. I will see you guys next Friday live. Have a great week and see you soon. Bye-bye, you guys.